without wasting any time, I'll move it to our founder, David Brown, CEO of BroadBit Batteries. Headquartered in Helsinki, Finland, energy storage, seed around 4 million in euros. How's it going, David?
It's going well. Looking
Thank you
forward to
for
this.
coming. Thank you. If you want to give a short intro to yourself and go straight to pitch, I'm coming after with the Q&A.
Okay. So yeah, I'm David Brown. I'm CEO and co-founder of BroadBit Batteries. I've got a long history in entrepreneurship. This is my sixth startup from concept to production. It's my fourth hardware startup. And my biggest hardware startup employs now 300 people in Finland and supplies the automotive and semiconductor industry. And we're going to make BroadBit bigger than that one. So happy to begin. At BroadBit, we do better, cheaper batteries to enable the transformation of energy and transportation. We now live in a fossil fuel-based world. We use about a kilogram of batteries per person. That's already a $100 billion market, but that's expected to top 2 trillion by 2040 as we use more batteries for things like EVs and grid storage. But existing batteries have lots of problems. They're way too expensive. They're harmful to users and the environment. They're too slow to charge. They have too low capacity. They're delicate and difficult to operate. And of course, they're made from limited resources. So BroadBit addresses all of these problems with two product families. First, we do battery cell components for rechargeable cell manufacturers, and we do battery cells for rechargeable battery pack manufacturers. Our first product we call our evolutionary product, and that is a new electrolyte to improve lithium-ion batteries. So we're the liquid that goes inside the batteries that allows the ions to move back and forth, but doesn't allow the electrons and allows the battery to work. We have a second product, which is our main product. That's our revolutionary sodium salt battery based on table salt as the active ingredient. And there we do everything, the anode, the cathode, and the electrolyte. So first, a few words about our evolutionary electrolyte product. So we call it ProLion. This makes existing lithium ions better. We make them safer, make them less flammable and less toxic. We allow them to charge faster and be more energy dense. We allow them to operate at higher temperature, so eliminating the need for battery cooling. We operate more power at low temperature, eliminating the need for heating. And most importantly, we improve the cycle life, so the number of times you can charge and discharge the battery by up to 4 times. And by doing these things, we can lower the cost by up to 4x. So that's about the electrolyte. So now that product is ready. We're looking for 3 million to scale that product to first commercial production. But the main product is the sodium salt battery. There we have a unique operating principle and superior performance. On the anode side, we use table salt as our active material. On the cathode side, and on the anode side, we deposit metallic sodium. It's an extremely high energy density battery. In between, we have an inorganic electrolyte, which is non-flammable, wide operating temperature, so no need to heat and cool the battery, and extremely high power. And perhaps most importantly of all, we're made from scalable and sustainable materials. So these are the main ingredients for our battery, all widely available and easily accessible. And we can make batteries very, very cheap. So from $125 per kilowatt hour today that Elon Musk dreams of, we can get down to well below 50. And if we make a thick cathode for certain applications, we can get well below $30 a kilowatt hour. So we can optimize this battery for high energy density, high power, or high efficiency. And we have chosen as a company to focus on high efficiency as our first market, and particular long duration energy storage, and leave the others for future applications. So why long duration energy storage? Well, it's currently not the biggest market, but it is the fastest growing market, and it's expected to be the largest market already by 2050. And we blow the competition out in terms of the key parameters to make a long duration energy storage battery. So where are we now? This has been validated. We have years of cycling data. We've demonstrated the exceptionally high performance and low cost, and we're ready now to begin field trials with this technology. All of this I'm talking about has been patented. We have over 90 patents in process, 35 already granted, and we're in deep business discussions from LOIs to partnerships, just volume sales and licensing, and we've signed 3 production cooperation agreements already. This is our facilities. In this facility, we're able to do everything from bring in raw materials and process to active materials, produce cells, and test them in various environmental conditions. So our business model is CapEx light. We focus on high margin components. That means we make the electrolyte anodes and cathodes ourselves and outsource the battery cell and battery pack manufacture. Our team is very experienced. I mentioned myself. Andras Kovacs is our CTO. This is his second startup. Rika is our CFO. She's been CEO and CFO for several big hardware companies in Finland. And Artem is our chief chemist with 15 years of experience in the business. Our main advisor is Yrjö Neuvvo, who is the former CTO of Nokia Corporation. We've got about 3 million in investment so far. Our main investor is Yaskawa Electric and about 5 million in public funding. And we've had about $500,000 in income to date from various customers. Our funding goal is 4 million immediately to do our first scaling and complete our R&D of our sodium battery, and then 9 million next year to the next scaling of our electrolyte production and first pilot production of our sodium battery. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, David. I'm going to take this from the business perspective. What's your time to market here?
So for the lithium side, if we got funding today, we would have the production up and running in about 9 months and start selling in about 15 months. And then for our sodium battery, we expect to be ready to do scaling by the beginning of 2026. So it'll be about a year from that we're in commercial production.
In terms of revenue, how much do you expect to generate in the next 3-5 years?
Next year, we're hoping already, if we got funding today, we'd have around 3 to 5 million in revenue next year, and the following year around 20 million and 100 million the following year, and then starts really exponentially growing.
But you supply from where? Can be the supply chain a bottleneck for you, a problem, or you see?
Well, we're producing here in Finland. The supply chain for the electrolyte, most of it comes from China at the moment, but Europe is building up production of some of the raw materials. For the sodium battery, everything is local. So we're already building up partnerships with local European manufacturers for the raw materials for that, and those materials are available basically anywhere in the world.
I've been talking to many founders try to tackle the battery, because we know battery is going to be there for a very long time. Some are doing very, very small ones. Some are doing very long-lasting one. But I always like to ask them, what's going to happen when these batteries will finish? Mm-hmm. It's very little tell me, okay, we have the plan. So because we are selling so much, right? We want to sell 10, 50, 100 million. But my main concern is we need the ending comes. Yeah. What's going to happen after?
Yeah, so our sodium batteries have non-toxic materials in them. They can essentially be eaten. You can almost eat our batteries. The materials are environmentally friendly. It's sodium, which is salt, table salt, sulfur, which is already in, for instance, that's in fuel already. And then silicon oxide, which is sand, and carbon, which is basically life. So our batteries are essentially edible. So no environmental issues with our batteries.
But in terms of you have salt and electrolyte, where do you see the expansion? I presume for the salt one, yeah?
Say that again. I didn't understand the question.
Where do you see the expansion? Because you had 2 types of battery. Mm-hmm. So where do you see most of the revenue coming? Or where do you expect investing more?
Well, in the short term, the short term will be the electrolyte. We consider that our cash cow to fund and scale the sodium salt battery. But the sodium salt battery has the potential to replace lithium ion in most applications. And we see that as a potential $1 trillion market, because we'd be replacing the current market of lithium batteries, and because of lower cost and higher scalability and better environmental factors, to be able to expand the battery market much more than lithium ion could.
For the storage?
First for storage, that's our first market, but later for EVs and power applications.
Do you need to differentiate a lot, or is something that can go one
Yeah,
direction?
the technology is essentially the same for all. The platform technology is the same. We do modifications to the electrolyte. We do modifications to the cathode to optimize for different properties. So for the first long duration energy storage, we're optimizing for efficiency and cost. And then when we do an EV battery, instead of optimizing for efficiency, we drop the round trip efficiency and gain energy density. So just as a reference, for our high efficiency cell, that's about 140 watt hours per kilogram, but it's 97% round trip efficiency. For our high energy battery, that's about 300 watt hours per kilogram, but that's only about 85% round trip efficiency. So we can modify the chemistry and the morphology to optimize for different aspects.
You have a pretty strong cap table already. What are you looking for to join your shareholders already?
Ideally, an investor would be somebody upstream of us in the value chain, a strategic investor, for instance, a material supplier, equipment supplier, something like that. Next in line would be somebody at the same stage as us in terms of the value chain, but we're also looking for large downstream customers or smaller downstream customers that wouldn't want to limit the market, people that would use our cells as strategic investors as well. One good example is somebody like a utility company. We're talking to many utility companies now, and as long as they're in separate markets, it's in their advantage to cooperate on developing the technology for other markets as well. So that's quite, utilities are quite localized markets. So
it is. In 30 seconds, your best elevator pitch ever. Why invest in yourself?
All right. Well, by investing in BroadBit batteries, you can get rich by making the world a better place. So we make cheaper, better batteries that are scalable and can solve many of the world's problems today that lithium-ion and other battery technologies simply cannot. So join me. I'm looking forward to talking to any interested investors.
Thank you, David.